business partners from Mesa, Biggs and Morris, that were filing some of the very first gold claims out here. And one of those claims, Black Queen, did become a significant gold mine during the 1890s. And the main shaft of that mine is located out there in the desert, about a half mile, covered by that metal shed. Now, before I continue with the brief history of Goldfield and the gold mining that went on 127 years ago, grab those cameras, look out the left side of the train. Towards the east, we have some great views of Goldfield Ghost Town with Superstition Mountain in the background coming up. Now, back in the day, Superstition Mountain over there has been called several names, and the most common were Thunder Mountain, Crooked Top, or Espuma, and that's Spanish for foam light. Now, it didn't get the current name until the late 1860s, and the credit for that goes to farmers that were settling in the area along the Salt River and the Gila River Valley. Now, a few of them farmers considered most of the local Native Americans were extremely superstitious about that mountain over there, and eventually they did christen it with the current name, Superstition. Now, back gold and gold mining. There was one day back in 1891 when Haights happened to be out here hunting. He got a few hundred yards back upstream in the vicinity of the Mammoth gold mine sitting back there in the wash. He came across the vein of gold, partially exposed from flash flooding.
So you want to sit here?
This discovery is what got the mining town of Goldfield going, by the way. A few days after discovering this vein, what a local newspaper headline stated, it was 1893 when Goldfield was established and incorporated. And it was October that year they opened the post office. Now, just a couple of years later, during the peak of the gold mining out here in 1895, Goldfield had a couple of dozen businesses and buildings in it. There were an estimated 2,500 residents, and most of them were gold miners and their families living out here in the desert in canvas wall tents all around Goldfield. There were also a dozen gold mines operating in the area, but only two of them, the Black Queen and the Mammoth, were large enough and significant enough back then that we're still talking about them today. Now we go back to the 1880s, to when it was all getting started out here, as word was beginning to spread throughout the Southwest that gold was discovered right here in the Western Superstitions. Paul and Sullivan, a mining company from Denver, heard about gold being found out here, and they came to Arizona in 1886, and they started buying up the claims out here. And they did offer Biggs and Morris $20,000 for the claims that they had at that time. And believe it or not, they did accept the mining company's offer. And now, out of the handful of claims that Hall and Sullivan did end up with, two of them did really well. The first one was the Black Queen. Now, between 1887 and 1897, that mine produced just a little over $500,000 in gold. Now, this is back when it was worth $20 an ounce. And the other claim that ended up doing really well is over there on the other side of Goldfield, down the hill in the Wash. It's known as the Mammoth Gold Mine. And that vein of gold that Haights discovered did lead to the largest and richest body of gold ore that was ever found out here, the Mormon Stoke. Now, for nearly 2 years, the first several hundred feet of it was producing 300 ounces of gold per ton. We had a 20-stamp mill set up over there at the Mammoth and processed that ore 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. total gold production out of the Mammoth mine between 1891 and 1897 was a little over 64,000 ounces. And at $20 an ounce, that was just a little over $1 million. Not a bad return on that $20,000 investment. Now the other gold mines out here, under different ownership, had produced $3 million during that same time period. Now Goldfield, like a lot of mining towns in the Southwest, didn't last long. It was 1897. The gold's running out and mines are shutting down. Miners and their families are leaving the area. And the Mammoth, one of the few gold mines that were still operating out here, we're finding veins of low-grade ore.
What?
And then the mine owners got greedy and made a decision.
They were closing the mines.
One of the veins just a little bit farther underground.
Because the gold finished.
That it was going to turn into a larger, richer vein of gold. But this time their luck runs out. What they found instead
Diamonds.
was groundwater after cracking into an aquifer. And a couple of weeks later, they received 4.5 inches of rain in a very short period of time. Caused a lot of flash flooding out here. And a Mammoth gold mine being flooded from above with tons of sand and gravel shut down. Mining company packed it up and headed back to Denver. And a couple of months later, as everybody got to Goldfield, it was the United States Postal Service that officially made it close now when it deactivated the post office in November of 1898.